Hello, we are RTK and this is Top 5 Tips to Win in Domination. Today, Navigator and I, Lemur, will be discussing the most important tips to actually win games in Domination. Say hi, Navi.
Hello, if you like our content, please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Now, let's get into the video. Tip number 1. Objectives are more important than destroying enemy armies. Usually the game ends when one of the teams goes to 1500 points, not when the enemy army is destroyed. So, what you need to do is you need to focus on taking at least 2 out of 3 objectives so you can maintain the advantage of holding the point. The best way to do it is by infantry. Infantry has the most capture rate and you can get a lot of it very cheap. Then SCs are single entities. SCs are really good at fighting, but they're not very good at capturing points because they only have 3 capture rate. Flying SCs are even worse, they have 0 capture rate. The one SC that is good at capturing points are the foot characters, because they're really hard to remove and they stick for a long time. Good way to capture points is with cheap cavalry. For example, Tomb Kings have a lot of cheap cavalry that they use to capture objectives. You stack a lot of them at one point and you can get it very fast. Because of their fast speed, they're also very good at doing sneaky plays and capturing the home point of your enemy. A good strategy in domination is to capture all 3 objectives and hold as long as possible. That way, even if you lose the battle, you still win the game by holding the points, as long as you keep at least one in your possession.
Tip number 2. Hotkeys. They are really important because they allow us to be much more effective and efficient while playing, so we can focus on other things. These are the most important ones, in my opinion. First, Control A to select every unit in the army at the same time, so we don't have to click every individual unit, and it's very good with Alt, which allows us to move everything in current formation, and artillery can fire wherever you tell them to, including ground. And you can position flying shooting units over the enemy much more easily. Some other hotkeys are F for melee mode on shooting units, H for guard mode so your units don't chase their targets, and R to run because sometimes game is really buggy and your units stop running.
Tip number 3. Remember to spend your supplies. A lot of the time as a new player, you might forget that you have a supply line. You can see your supplies on the top left, and whenever you have enough for the unit that you need, you should always spend it as soon as possible. Sometimes you might forget, and that's okay, but just remember to keep spending it. There is an exception to this. Sometimes you want to gather a lot of supplies and summon a lot of units together as a surprise attack. For example, you can gather 2000 supplies and summon 400-500 cavalry to quickly capture a point while your opponent doesn't expect it. Remember to keep track of your opponent's supplies. You cannot see them, but they get them at the same rate as you do. So, if they haven't summoned a unit in a while, it means they have a lot of resources. So they will summon either a big unit or a lot of cheaper ones. Remember to track your opponent's supplies. That way, you can react to your opponent's plays as long as you know what they're doing. Therefore, if you notice your opponent gathering supplies, you can prepare a plan and just spend a lot of stuff on quick reinforcements. That way, you can force your opponent to spend his reinforcements early, and you don't allow him to build up a big force.
Tip number 4. Debug camera. After enabling hotkeys, we actually want to make them easy to use, i.e. to actually see everything, and we can do that by enabling debug camera in the game's files. What debug camera does is allow us to zoom out much further so we can actually see the battlefield much easier and use the hotkeys like Control A and then Alt to move everything and properly see every unit on the map. Don't worry, it's all rules-friendly, it isn't cheating, so we aren't breaking the law here. It is really useful to be aware of everything happening in the game, and combined with Space Hotkey, we can always spot enemy units trying to sneak up on our artillery, or friendly units that got lost and were forgotten about. We have a separate short on our channel explaining how to set it up.
Tip number 5. Don't bring too many items and spells. This is not campaign, where everything your lord has is free. In domination, budget management is really important, and even if you do have gold for all of these, you probably won't have enough points of magic for all the spells. So it's best to stick to 1 or 2, sometimes 3, but only rarely. Having anything more is problematic, because your really expensive lord all of a sudden becomes a big target to get sniped. Another downside is that you can't have a wide enough army to field, and therefore you might not have enough bodies to capture the objectives, as we said in tip number 1. Bringing a cheap lord is also good, because even if he gets sniped, it will be easy resummoning him back, because you won't have to sacrifice as many supplies doing it. And lead exit debuff won't last forever. Unlike with a really expensive lord, that if destroyed you will probably never get resummoned back. So basically, if you want to bring a cheap lord, don't spend too much on him. And if you want to bring an expensive one, bring some items to make him sturdier. But don't go overboard with it.
And that was it. We hope you enjoyed today's video, and regardless of if you did or didn't, we would love to hear your opinion down below in the comments. If you like our content and want to learn more, we highly encourage you to join the RTK Clan Discord server linked in the description. See you next time.